Hey everybody, hope everybody's doing well. Today I'm going to do a book review for you. I'm going to review the book Red by Jack Ketchum. Jack Ketchum, I reviewed a couple of his books on this channel. He's one of my favorite authors ever. He's primarily known for being a horror novelist. In fact, he's been called a splatterpunk author, which is a term that kind of came out in the 80s. It was a sort of genre of very ultra-violent, very gory sort of writing. He is known for that, and his books, while mostly horror novels and can be extraordinarily gory and fun, he's not always like that. And that's the thing about Ketchum that I really do enjoy is that, he is dead now, but I think if he was still around, the guy could probably write about anything he wanted and it would be a great book because he has such a way with words. He's one of those authors that just can tell a damn good bedtime story, really. It's the best way to put it. He's one of those authors that can really give you great character development in a very short running time. His novels are never very long, and you always, in that short running time, get a good grasp of the characters and the world that he's created in that novel. And like I think most of us, what we always want in a book is that we're kind of transported there and we feel like we're there. I've said in another review of his that I really did feel like in a lot of his novels I was in the corner of the room watching everything take place with my hands up, like I don't know what to do, I'm just watching. He really does make you feel like that. So this book, I always like to recommend this book to people because while he's known for that violent, gory stuff, this one really isn't about that. Now, there's a couple violent things in this book, but they're necessary. This is primarily a book about retribution. The basic plot of this book is that you have a character named Avery Ludlow. He's an older gentleman, kind of a little rough around the edges, you know the kind of type, and he has a dog named Red. Old dog, and it's his fishing buddy. You know, his wife has passed away. It's just his friend. He goes fishing with his dog one day, and a group of punk-ass kids, you know the type, they come by and they try to rob him, and when things don't go the right way, they kill his dog with a shotgun. Yeah, it's a tough thing to get through as well. I want to say as an animal lover, but I would say like as any anyone with feelings really would be kind of disturbed by that, right? And what really struck me about this book that is different than your general. Let me go on a little tangent real quick. One thing I want to say about Jack Ketchum that I think you might find interesting if you haven't read him. He has this thing that he does that I find very interesting, is that his novels never really have crazy plots. Like if you were to summarize any of the plots of his novels to someone, they're never really that, I guess, inventive or that out there. They're always very basic, right? They always sound like there's nothing special here. There's nothing I haven't seen before. And that's what makes him special, is that he's able to take those very basic sort of plots and do something incredible with them. And that's the case here, where it very much seems like it's going to be your basic revenge sort of story, which, don't get me wrong, that can be a lot of fun sometimes. But he kind of turns it on its head almost. This is not a story about a guy looking for revenge. He's looking for retribution. He's looking for justice, really. He doesn't want these guys to die. He doesn't want to go kill them immediately. He wants them to admit what they did was wrong, and he wants them to face the consequences for what they did. And I just thought that was very interesting, and it played out very well through the whole novel. And in some ways, I think this is Jack's way of talking about animal abuse sorts of things. He was a very big animal lover, and I could be wrong, could have been a different book, but I think he actually dedicated this book to his cats. So you can tell the guy was a huge animal lover. And I say that because it's very frustrating. You will get frustrated. He faces so many roadblocks with what you think should be a cut and dry case, right? These guys killed my dog, lock them up. It's not that simple, unfortunately. And the thing that is particularly interesting is he does occasionally, and this is something I really like about Jack Ketchum, is that sometimes he writes characters that are just born bad. You know, a lot of times you'll say, oh, well, this person was bad because of this thing that happened and this thing that happened. But some people are just born bad. And he does write a lot of characters like that. So on the cusp of this, looking just on a surface level, it looks like these are just some bastard characters that are just born bad, and they're punk-ass teenagers, like I said. But then you start to see, and this is a little bit of a different thing than he does sometimes, you really actually start to see oh, I kind of get why they're like that. I kind of get why they're acting the way they are. They've been kind of allowed to act that way, and you start to see that. And yeah, this is just a book that's going to frustrate you, but it's also just such an excellent read. And this is a very short book. It's only about 200 pages, if not a little more. Very, very quick read. It flows by. Like most of his books are very quick reads. And that's another thing that I like about Ketchum. Sorry about that lighting. Is that he's just able to give you so much character development and world development, and you really feel like you're there. And of course, like we always want to feel like we're there in books, and he does. Like I've said before, I always feel like I'm there and like I can't do anything, like you're the silent observer who sees all this going down, and you just kind of have your hands up like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. I'm just watching. I don't like this. So he does make you feel like that in this book. So I would recommend this book for folks that have never read a Ketchum book. I would recommend it for folks that have never read a Ketchum book, but maybe can't handle gore. Maybe you're not a horror fan. You can't handle the violence, but you want to read a really well-written book. I would recommend this one because, like I've said before, that is the thing about Ketchum is he could write anything he wanted and it would be good. So I think this would be an excellent one. If you are fine with gore and violence and you haven't read Ketchum, I would always probably suggest Off Season as his first book. A really fun, really well-written book that's, sorry about that, incredibly violent and gory, but just so damn good. But this one was probably my second favorite after Off Season that he's ever written, and I've read a couple of his books. Just a wonderful story, told very well, with a very short running time, and that's kind of impressive to pack all that in and not make it feel rushed at all. So, yeah, I really suggest this book for anyone. If you have read this book, please let me know what you think about it. And, if you're a Ketchum fan and everything. Really great author. There's a lot. I think that this book could, in some ways, if you are fine with the horror and stuff, be a gateway almost because it's just so accessible. It's a good word. It's a very accessible book for him. So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this little succinct, but I didn't want to really spoil anything as I normally do. I don't like to spoil the books because I like, I'm kind of weird. So I like to watch reviews that are spoiler free before I read a book because I like to kind of hype myself up about it. And then after I read the book, I always like to watch reviews to kind of get people's opinions and what other people felt. So please let me know what you thought about this and everything. Please let me know how you're doing. I always like to hear from you. As always, that's totally 100% why I do YouTube, because I like to share my interests with you guys and I like to hear what your thoughts are on these kinds of things. So everybody take care. Peace out. And that's all I got to say. Next time I'll be back with you with something that is whatever I want to do. Have a great day, guys.